Just me and you.
Cool.
Yes, sir. Listen, man, it's good to have you on the show. I'll just run through a couple of things before we start.
hmm
Um, Number one, GDPR.
Yep. No
And
names.
no names and any details that allude to anybody. Boy, it's easy to get into that when we're talking to kind of let things slip, but we've got to
Yeah.
watch ourselves. The other thing is just be yourself, and I know that's what you're gonna do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's all I can do, really. If not, boy, we have problems.
this is it. That's it.
Cool.
I'm
All
gonna
right.
give a little intro. It's the questions. You don't know what the questions are really,
No.
but we go. I'm gonna go with your flow. We'll be about
hmm
max, I reckon, about 40 minutes.
That's cool. That's cool.
Um, you and your job, you personally, what you get out of
hmm
it, things that need to change, things that you observe, the common things that
hmm
you think are featuring in your job, and I want you to give some advice.
Okay.
And anytime we are kind of fun in between, we can try and have it.
All right. Let's see how I can do. I'll try
Yeah,
and do my best for you.
bro, you're gonna be fine. What do you mean? But remember, you got the mic. You're covering up the mic now.
Am I covering the mic?
You see the mic on your earpiece? Is it plugged in?
Yeah, it should be.
It's around your neck.
Can you hear me? Ah, what's this? Oh, can you not hear me properly? One
No, you
minute.
covered it up when you were talking.
Oh, okay. 1 minute. Let me
Yeah,
just make sure I get it straight.
yeah.
I like to hand lean sometimes. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. So when you hold it, remember. Yeah. Anyway, you just do what you're doing.
Yeah. Just have to remember not to mash up the whole thing. I know it is. Yeah. It's all right.
So
Cool.
when it's there, it's actually a lot better.
Okay. All right. Ooh. Okay. Let me just see. Can do. It's all right. They can't see me on camera, so it's all right. I'll just hold it there.
Don't worry. Don't worry. Don't worry. You could just hold it up there. That's it.
Yeah. It's a long
Yeah.
time
All
since
right.
man.
Here we go. We're gonna go with an intro. Thank everybody for tuning back into the social work race. And I told you we were gonna have some professionals on this show. You've come to the platform that deals with all things social work and frontline. Whether you're a student, whether you're seasoned in this game, this is a platform for you. The aim of this platform is really to help people who are entering in already in social services to better inform people how they need to navigate this field. Because what we do is we do superhero work. Can I say that? Can I say that, Des?
Sometimes.
We try to be superheroes, right? So we need that. We need to support each other with resources, and this platform is aiming to do that. And today, I have a colleague who I have not seen face to face. It's all been virtual, sadly.
It's true. It's true.
But we should be linking up. What, a couple of weeks time, I think, for a munch.
Hopefully. Yeah.
Yeah. This is it.
See
So,
the
guys,
man in the place.
say again.
See all the man in the place, and it so it'll be like
There's not many of us, is it? There's not many of us. I think it's me, you, and another mate. Okay. Well, yeah. Listen, as I was just saying, there's not many men in social services. We need more. So this is a bit of a recruitment drive. So, guys, I have I have Desmond with me today. He's a colleague. He's a family practitioner. We want to look at what family practitioners do, who Desmond is in this role, and I'm going to ask him some questions. He has not heard them yet. So here he is. He's right on. He's off the cuff. Desmond, welcome.
Thank you. How are we doing this evening?
You know, at our age, it's bedtime. You know what I mean?
Hey, don't get me started, Don't get me started.
It is bedtime. Yeah, man. It's only 8. What? Just gone 8 o'clock. It's bedtime. But
Yeah.
appreciate you for coming on, man. Tell us who you are and how long you've been doing this role.
Right, my name's Desmond. I've been doing the family practitioner role for I think 3 years now. Now, some might know it as formerly family support worker. They might know it as social worker's assistant.
Yeah,
So I think in different boroughs it has different guises it goes under. But at the end of the day, we still work with the families and support the families. Um, so yeah, that's me. My role is to do targeted pieces of work with young people and families.
mm,
Basically, with the young person at the center of the work, and then we're reaching out and dealing with the families as well in case of like engagement. I mean, most of the young people I used to deal with were contextual, so that was kind of like gangs and you know social behavior and social and anything to do with knives and stuff like that. And
yeah,
emotional and trauma. So that was primarily what I was doing or did. I've now moved departments, but I'm still trying to do the same thing. But yeah, that's what we primarily did, and it would be a targeted piece of work set for a period of time. So it could be 6 weeks, could be longer, depending on the kind of work that we need to do, which focus on emotional support. You
right,
know, if it's parenting advice, it's just supporting the kid or just getting to know the young person and just getting them out there, being able to talk about what's going on for them and expressing themselves in a way, and sometimes explaining the system and what's going on for them as well. Because a lot of time, as adults, we talk a lot, and not necessarily the young people understand a word of what we're
yeah.
saying.
That's right.
You know,
That's right.
you could say 1,000 words, and they're probably only taking like 20. And most of them might be just catch their name or something like that. So that's kind of what I do basically. I think it's the role has changed because when I started, it was more like we were unpaid social workers. So
Yeah.
there was a lot of stuff like we held like 16 cases. We had to
Mm,
organize sin reviews and stuff like that. So it
mm,
was a lot. So it was a lot heavier. So we weren't doing the direct work with the young people itself. So we were doing the direct work, but then we was also doing the other paperwork role. And as a social worker, there's loads of paperwork. There's
mate, mate,
reams, reams,
mate.
reams, and if
I think I need a set of glasses now because it's just looking at the screen now because a lot of the
yeah.
paperwork is actually online. It's a lot of work in that respect. I've got a question for you.
Hmm.
Give me an example of a situation where you would need to be involved.
Okay. Young person's been arrested.
Yeah.
They might need support at court. You know what I mean? And you kind of go along to support the parent and support the young person because going to court can be quite, how you say, a traumatic experience, especially regarding what they've been pulled up for. So
Mm,
I would usually go along as support, even though I can't really affect change, but I'd be able to give information to like when you're with the youth justice service.
yeah.
Occasionally, I've been pulled in. I'm in court, and I've actually spoken to the magistrates as well. So you
Yeah.
have to speak up for the young person as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the kind of situation you might find yourself in. Hopefully,
Right.
hopefully not. If a young person can keep themselves in the straight and narrow, but there's occasion where they end up on the wrong side of the law, so they're getting arrested and stuff like that. So you need to find out what's going on and how best you can support them going through that process.
It's an interesting point you make there, right? Because before I started working in social services on a more kind of say professional level, like yourself, my view was, or the questions I would be asking is, why is that kid so? And we use the term, why is that kid so rude? Why are they so bad breed, so to speak? That's the kind of Caribbean kind of vernacular there.
Yeah,
You get me?
yeah.
But why what when you if you're supporting a family, why are you seeing children, young people kind of being why are they so gosh, how can I put it? Why are they presenting so much risky behavior? Why are they getting involved in crime? How does that happen from your perspective?
It could be a lot of things. It could be just, excuse me, not interested in school, loss of school interaction. Some of it starts from education where they're bored in class and the school itself hasn't got the patience to deal with them. It's also about who their peers are and what kind of things they're doing with their peers. It visually could start off with just smoking a little bit of something, and next, graduate to selling. Then it comes to this, then it comes to that, and it's
Right.
just general. Some of it is just general boredom. It's
Mm,
boredom, and then excuse me, I still have a little bit of a cough, but it
mm,
could be there's no engagement at home as well. The family life, the family home is not engaging with them, not being engaged with by their parents, or some of them have a traumatic parenting. You know, the parents themselves have their own issues and stuff like that.
Did you say
Stuff,
traumatic parenting?
yeah, traumatic parenting. You know, some could be getting a little bit domestic, could be getting hit by their parents and stuff like that. You know, the parents themselves have trauma, and you, as we know, when you have trauma, you usually unconsciously transmit that trauma down to your young person, to your child, or whatever. You know, in some
Yeah.
cases, not all. Before anyone says no, it's not everybody. No, but sometimes it is, and you can see it's evident because if the parent themselves can't get out the cycle they're in, the young
Mm,
person sees that and they kind of follow the same cycle. You know, as one
mm.
young person pointed out once, he goes, well, you smoke and drink, I do this, I do that, so what do you expect me to do? What else do you expect me to do?
Same thing. We've had the same thing. There's that
You
that
know,
is that is real. I mean, wow. So you're going in now. I'm liking where you're going with this. I mean, what kind of work are you doing with mum? Typically, mum, right? Am I
it'd be mum, dad, it could
mum
be
and dad?
mum,
Okay,
dad,
what are you doing?
whoever's the main guardian person in the house is
Mm,
who I would go to. The person that's closest to them or the person they're having the trauma with, because you know, say like some of them don't have a great relationship with their mum, and it's just trying to get mum to understand what is going on for them, for this
right,
young person, you know,
right.
and then it's understanding where mum's coming from, so dad's coming from. So, what is your parenting background? Do you understand what's going on for them? Do you understand the safeguarding risks for them and how you can talk to them a little bit differently instead of just being rah? Because, as
Right.
we know, most people don't really hear that, you know. So when they think they're shouting, no one can hear you. I once went into a situation where everyone's shouting. I said, I can't hear you. And they goes, what do you mean? I said, everybody's shouting. I said, I don't
Mm,
understand a word. I said, it's just noise to me.
yeah,
You need to take that down. You know what I mean? And I said, and myself, I just took it down. So
yeah,
then 1 minute everybody's loud and everybody gets quiet. But it's
yeah,
just how you kind of negotiate that and get them kind of basically, you know, like two ships pass by. I'm trying to get them two ships to meet, you
yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah,
you know, and offload and offload a little something to each other and then offload to this one. And then somehow they become a bit more cohesive. So it makes the family life a lot more cohesive because basically what we're trying to do is keep the child and the family together. That's the
right,
main thing that we're trying to do because everybody feels like going into care is the option. Going
yeah.
into care is not the option. You know,
Mm.
I'd rather
What
keep
do you
you
mean
with your
by that?
family. Like most young people think, oh yeah, I'm going to go into care and it's going to be easy. And it's like, no, dude, it's not, you know, because there's different things you have to deal with and you kind of put yourself more vulnerable because it's depending on what care home you go into, you know, and history
Yeah.
shows us that there's, unless you get into an exceptional care home, sometimes
Hmm.
the people are just not there for that. You know, you get
That's
people who
right.
don't care and
Mm,
they're not bothered. It's just a job to them. So we'd rather you stay at home and see if we can kind of change the behavior for the parents and for the young person so they can be more cohesive and work better with each other, you know. So
mm,
that's what we try to do, and
yeah.
you know that's what we try and facilitate with the parents, you know, understanding what your role is, how you do with things, and how you can deal with the young person better, and how the young person can understand where the parents coming from, you know, like,
Mm,
oh, he don't ring his phone, he don't answer his phone. Well, why am I answering my phone for? All she's gonna do is shout. She might not shout
right.
at you this time.
This is
She
big.
just wants
This is big.
she wants to know what time you're
These
coming home.
these are basic parenting skills, right? Or
Yeah,
no, no. Should I say basic or simple parenting mistakes?
yeah. You know, it's just like, you know, asking, so what time are you going to be back? Or setting a curfew, or setting boundaries and stuff like that, you know, and, you know, understanding how conversations can go wrong because we
Mm,
all know it only takes, because the thing is, it's making people understand. You may think you're saying the right thing, but what you're doing is actually triggering that person. So they're going to respond to what
wow.
you say to you.
Right.
So if you tell someone to F off when they're asking you a basic question, then they're going to get in their feelings and go, well, F you too. I'm bouncing. You know what I mean? And then
Mm,
what have you achieved? Nothing. There's been no kind of proper dialogue. It just
yeah.
becomes, well, oh, he's being rude. Well, did you approach that the right way? Did you actually listen? Because a lot of it is down to listening and understanding what the young person is saying. Because too often, someone asks for something and we as humans never actually answer the question. When you think about it, when you ask someone how you doing, when you say how's your day been, how you doing, they say, oh, I'm cool and everything, but they never actually answer the question. You know, one time I had an example where I walked into a petrol station,
Mm,
and you know, in petrol station said, how you doing? And
yeah.
I said, I'm knackered. I said, I'm knackered.
You
Mash
told the
up.
truth.
And the person looked, and the attendant looked and went, "Wow, that's the first time someone's actually answered that question and actually told me how they're feeling." I said,
Wow.
"Darling, darling, listen." I didn't mean to be bad, but I was like, "Darling, listen, babe, my knees hurting me, my back hurting me. This boy just kicked me in my ankle from playing football." I said, "I'm not in a good mood right now," you know. And we just laughed about it. And I said, "How are you?" She goes, "I'm the same."
Wow.
Conversation started, you know.
Mm,
And what happened was, felt better out of the conversation. We both
of
had a
course.
laugh. So for 5 minutes of each other's day, we had a joke that kind of pepped you up and kept you going. And sometimes when you're dealing with young people, that's how you can be. Same with a parent. I've had it where I've turned up to a parent's house and it's been, all right, he did this, blah, 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 he's crying. And I said, okay, I heard all that. I said, now how are you? Start crying. And I was like, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I said, how are you? I didn't ask about it. I said, how are you? I've heard about him. How are you?
And why are you
And just
asking about how they are?
because you need to find out how the parent is. Because too often we always ask, well, how's he doing? And it kind of keeps them out. It keeps them out of the situation. It's like we're not bothered about it. It's like the whole focus is on the young person, but we're trying to focus on the whole family as well.
Yeah.
Yes, we know. Yes, he's just smoked 10 loads of weed and he's just got arrested. Blah blah blah. How are you coping? Because they're the one that has to. Because when I leave,
That's
nine to
it.
five, 5 o'clock, my phone lock off. That's me. That's
Mm,
EDT taking over. You know what I mean?
mm, that's
But
right.
it's like, how are you going to deal with this? And how are you going to find ways to calm and find your space? So, it's important. Every time I do that, it's just, how are you? I either get the reaction like, no one ever asked me that. How are you? To tell you the truth, I'm frazzled this, or I'm tired, or I'm emotional, or I'm
Mm,
okay. So it's always important because don't forget, we're dealing in social work. And I know people say, well, you're taking it literally, but we're dealing in social work. So we're being social. So you have to understand that this is people we're dealing with.
mm,
These are people we're interacting with. So we need to remember that, yes, there's loads of paperwork, there's loads of this to do, but we need to remember it's people that we're essentially dealing with. So we have to be able to relate to the people and talk to them on a level.
mm,
And as family practitioners, most often we're the ones that get to the true issues of what's going on. Because they
that's right.
might say, oh, yeah, yeah, I spoke to my social worker. So I didn't tell them. And then you'll speak to a social worker and say, "Man, I didn't know that. How did you find out?" Well, I just asked them. So they might trust you because of the social work, because of the way that they put the social worker out there and the general consensus that, they come in, they take your kids, they do this and do that. And sometimes there is evidence of bad practices. Not all social workers are like
Yeah,
that.
that's
Excuse
true.
me. You know,
We will get tarred with the same brush, though.
yes, and that's sometimes I've had to go in there and fight some fires, some blazing fires. Like, well, you know what? But the thing is, you have to be honest and say, you know what? That's an example of bad social working. And we have to be honest enough to call it out. When someone's come in and said, I have the power to take away your kids, blah, blah, this and that, if you don't cooperate, that's not good. You're not going to get anybody to kind of engage with you, you know? And what it does, if you don't do what you're supposed to do, the next social worker who's probably really good and cares and everything is
Doesn't
got
get
to
looking.
has to jump this mile high fence first just to break down the walls to get to the crux of what's happening. When really, if they've had decent experiences time after time, then they'll say, they're more likely to engage and said, you know what, the last social work was good. We did something like this. And, sometimes they end up asking for that same social worker, but they're
Mm,
more liable to want to work with you because they've had a positive experience, not a rubbish experience where it's like, yeah, I didn't like that social worker, blah, blah, all the time. And then sometimes you have to make distinction. Right, I'm a family practitioner. I'm not a social worker.
yeah.
So, and
Everyone
I
needs
don't
a
like
different
to,
brush.
yeah, and I don't like to do it all the time. But sometimes you have to make that distinction because they kind of all because when they hear social work, everybody gets lumped
Yeah.
into the same pot, and
Yeah.
it's like, well, I'm trying to get to what's going on because I work alongside the social worker. So if I can make it that you and the social worker have a better relationship, great, because I'm only in here for a specific piece of work, you know.
Yeah.
And so therefore the social worker will be able to say, well, okay, well, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. And they're like, okay, they're more liable to trust them, because it's about trust as well. And I think
Right.
as family practitioners, we kind of get the family and the young person's trust. Doesn't say it's perfect all the time. Sometimes
Mm,
I've had occasions where me and the young person's not ready to engage. It's like,
yeah.
okay. And I'm honest. I said, listen, sometimes, you get the little street ones and you're like, nah, brethren, no, I talk to you. It's like, listen, my you, all right. basically, here's my number. If you need to chat, I'm here. If you don't want to engage, you don't want to engage. But I said, let me just warn you about what can happen if you continue down this road. I said, because at the end of the day, you have a choice of what you want to do. And I said, bear in mind that you think everything is good now, but you keep getting pulled up by the police. I said, they're going to stop giving you little out of court disposals and stuff like that. They're
Yep.
soon it's going to be like they're going to be clamping you down. When you're on the road, they're going to be putting tags on you. They're going to be stopping you every minute, and then you're going to get attitude. Why the police is always up in my face?
Yep.
And then and then it becomes the thing of next thing when you go to court, they start giving the sentences start getting worse and worse. The sanctions start getting worse and worse until you're banged up.
That's right.
And the reality is that being locked down for 23 and a half hours in one room with the toilet and everything in there is not fun. There's no Xbox. There's no Prada. There's no ordering McDonald's quick time or going down the road to go and meet your brethren. 23 and a half hours lockdown. I've been in Feltham, and that is one claustrophobic place.
It's rough.
Noisy. It's rough. If you think it's wild on the street, try being inside. What?
It's a high concentration of the problem, isn't it?
Yeah, because it's very hard for anybody to get rehabilitated if everybody's on war mode.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Trying
it's
to
that kind of thing.
Yeah, rehabilitation and good behavior, and then you put them in the fire and expect them to keep quiet. Basically, it's crazy.
Yeah, and so that's what I try and tell my young people, boys and girls. Listen, you don't want to end up there. This is not the place for you. You see how you're sitting there and you're watching Xbox right now? You see how you're flicking channels? I said, you don't get to do that. I said, because it's an institutionalized place. So they treat you a certain way. And I said, you don't need that. And the thing is, if you're used to freedom and you may have like different disabilities and stuff like that, you may be on the autistic spectrum and you ASD, ADHD.
Yep.
You being locked up in one room is going to hurt you mentally. So I kind of just tell them the truth. I'm not hardcore with it, but I just tell them the truth. I just lay it out and just like, this is the truth. This is what's happening. So can we engage? And I always make sure I get them said, do you want to engage? You know what I mean? We can arrange to meet one week, one day a week, set it out. Because I said, I'm not going to sit in there and chat to you for 4 hours. If it goes to the thing where we get to know each other, and then next thing you know, we've been there 1 hour, 2 hours chatting, cool. But I'm not going to be doing that. I'm not going to engage if I'm not trying to take up your time if it's not going to be worth it for you, because it has to benefit them.
So this leads me to a question. What do you think are the key attributes or skills that you need as a family practitioner?
You need to be able to listen. You need to be able to be relatable to the young person. You need to understand what's going on for them. You know what I mean? Because most of my young people, I look at them, I just say, man, they're just little youths. They're such nice kids. And everybody goes, well, yeah, but everybody always says that. No, they're nice kids. You can't judge them. It's no judging. You have to take them as who they are and understand their little quirks. I think for me, sense of humor, because some of the situations you find yourself in, it's like either you cry or you laugh. You got to have empathy. You got to be able to communicate. You've got to be able to, it's understanding the situation, because it's rubbish for them. You know what I mean? And it's just saying simple things like, look, I know this is not easy, because we don't like doing either where we have to come in someone's house and ask a whole heap of questions and ask your business and everything like that. But what can we do to make this an easier process for you? And I've actually had to say that. And saying that has helped them say, okay, cool. Because I had issues back. I said, we're not judging with them issues right now. We're dealing with what's in front of us. How can we support you, best support you? And it's just it's just helping them come up with solutions, because we don't want to be the hero thing where we come up and save the day and they've got no way to support themselves. We've got to enable them to be able to say, right, I can help myself. So it's just, it's telling them you can do that. It's encouraging. You've got to be encouraging for them as well. You've got to say, yeah, okay, that's a rubbish situation, but we can do something about that.
It's reframing.
You know what I mean? That's what they call it, reframing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like, we can do something about that. If we can get a quick win, wicked. Okay, that might be a long term. And it's just being honest about it as well. Like the reality of like, yeah, I can't do that. I said, that's not something that we're going to be able to do. But we might be able to do this. But we need the parents to kind of kick in as well. Excuse me.
No worries. Question. What is the most common thing, correlations that you see in your practice? Most common factors, influences for either good or bad.
Peers. It's their peers. Young people listen a lot and care a lot about what their peers say.
Wow.
And how their image looks, and it's a lot of that. It's a lot of, wow, he thinks I'm a prick, and it's all that kind of stuff. And you've got to kind of push away at to kind of get to, who are you and why do you care so much about what this person says when he's just doing the same thing as you? And who are you as a person? Because sometimes they like to go with the crowd. It's like, because that person's doing it, well, we have to do it. So if everybody's smoking weed, well, I got to smoke weed as well. No, you've got to learn to be individual. It's just
that's social influence. I'm gonna, and no matter how dangerous it might appear, they're still gonna follow through.
Yeah, because they want to back up their brethren. It's loyalty. A lot of it is loyalty as well. Like, well, he's had my back, and it's like sometimes it feels like they're missing that kind of familiar family kind of structure around them, and you're just like, okay, I can see what drew you to it, but
so they migrate to the street because home is lacking, is what you're saying.
Home is lacking as well at times. Not all of it, but sometimes, but the majority of it, for what everybody who's probably out there and does social work can see, that there's something that's missing at home to keep them keep them kind of in tune with their parents and their siblings and stuff like that. There's something missing that means they have to they have to be out on these streets. So it's a lot of that. As I said to one young person, I said, you know what? I said, I feel sorry for you in these times, because there's so much different pressures you have to deal with. You've got the social media where you have to be this, you have to be that, and then they see negative issues. Back in my day, we got internet, but we didn't have it like that.
No, it wasn't.
If someone's getting beat down, ain't no one filming that.
No.
We're not putting that on camera. That's not appearing on. That's not a YouTube moment.
No.
The music has changed, and it's all good to rep your area, but they rep their area. Everybody's always rep their area. There's always been small little tussles and little fights and everything, but not to the level of this, where it's like, well, this is the AU gang and the BF. Some of the names I'm looking at, like, really, okay, what I mean. And you're just thinking, wow, okay. But for us, we're like, we need to understand it. And that's the point we need to get to, when we understand it. When you sit down with young people and say, take me through this. Because they look at you and say, yeah, but you lot don't understand. Make us understand. Yeah. And if we can understand that, then that will help us engage more with these young people. Instead of just, it'll help. Instead of just saying, all right, you need to do this, you need to do that. No, you need to get them to come in and buy into it as well. Whatever you're offering, you need to get young people to buy it. That's anybody. You need to get them to buy into it. If they don't buy into it, they're not gonna. You're just gonna get air. You know what I mean?
What is some of the most common things you see with parents?
Some of them is the trauma. They've got their own traumas. Wow. Sometimes they care too much. Some care too much. Some don't know enough.
What does care too much mean?
Some care too much. So basically, sometimes they got this young person. They got the young person wrapped up in wool too. They care too much that they won't let the young person do anything. And the thing is, you already know that if someone's been wrapped up too much and they see something that's alluring, it's harder to keep hold of them, and they're just gonna be like, I'm out there. That's it. And the parent will say, well, I've done this for you, and 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 I love you. This. And sometimes it's just like, yeah, but mum, so what? You know what I mean? It's hard. The parent cares so much and they're ready to do so much. And there's a lot of times when they're ignorant of the fact, and I hate to use the word ignorant, they're ignorant of the fact of what is actually going on and how the young person, how their actions are impacting their child.
Yeah, but there must be, I think, levels of denial with some parents is really maybe what you want to say, where they don't want to accept that actually I'm a part of the problem, because maybe they're directing you, go and work with. I'm sure if you go into some parents' houses, they're like, go and work with him or her, please. Actually, you are at 50% of the problem, if not 60, 70% of the problem.
Sorry, I
Do you
just
know
had
what I
to
mean?
swap cameras because swap earphones because my battery decided that it's gonna die. So
That's fine. We got you. You can turn off the video as well.
yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Ooh, I don't even know how to turn off my.
Did we lose Des? He's still there.
Yes, I can hear you now. That's better.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. I mean, yeah. There were some parents are. Do I want to hear that I'm a part of the problem? Because it means probably I have to change myself, and I'm too tired to change. I'm too stressed to change. I don't care.
That's some. It's very hard because giving anyone some kind of bad news and telling them that they're kind of the root cause of what's going. They're one of the causes of what's happening with their young person. Because you see it where anywhere on social media something happens and they say, well, the parents must be proud or the parents are real bad parenting, and people blaming parenting all the time. Sometimes some parents don't know any better because that's how they've been raised.
Yeah.
And we need to understand that there's different types of parenting. There's some really good parents out there who do everything possible.
Yeah, that's right.
And their child still wilds out.
Yeah.
They do everything possible. They make sure when he does this, they set in sanctions, they take boundaries, they take this away, they take this away, they take this away, and they still wild out. There's some that do that, and the kid kind of straightens up and understands whether or not the engagement with the family, with the parent, because and you love your kid, and sometimes you have to say to a young person, I said, do you love your parents? Yeah. Do you love your mom? I said, so why do you want to keep putting her through all of this or him through all of this? And they don't normally have an answer for it. It's like, I don't know. It's like, I don't know, blood. I really don't know. Anybody out there who heard that, you know that I don't know, blood, and you get that expression that one when they kind of got
the side eye.
Their lips, like side eye, skin up their lips. They can't look you in the face. So it's a lot of that. The parents themselves don't know how to parent sometimes. They don't know what is appropriate. You shouldn't be, your kid gets on your nerve. Don't kick you out. Don't say, get out of my house. Don't say things like, I wish I never had you and stuff like that. Because all that doesn't help. None of that helps it, it's their emotion, it's their emotional balance that needs to be addressed as well. Like, can you see when you do this, you don't do that? And sometimes the kid is just crying out for attention from the parent. It's like, how much attention do you spend with your child? Wow. How much attention do you give to your child? Do you just do an activity where it's just you and them?
Do you know, I read a study about 3 years ago where it showed that absent fathers, I hope people get this right, and I hope I can quote it right, but absent fathers aren't as big a problem as mothers who are there but not present. There's a way of looking at this to say, and what it means is that at the very least, it was a bit of a scary conclusion they came to. But the parent that is present is key. And if that parent who is present is absent, for example, mum who doesn't pay any attention or doesn't show the due care or necessary care for a child, she can do a lot of damage. And it was typically the mother that was the lone parent in the study, as in society. But although I believe that, and this is a side issue now, my personal belief is that absent fathers are the cause of most problems. But I think that's a personal view based on my take on studies and what I observe. But mothers have it hard. And I think it's very easy to have children and just not know.
Yeah.
And you don't know until year 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's very easy to happen.
Yeah. I think that is something where you need both parents. I mean, as men in the professions that we are, what is the statement you hear most when you join the team and you go and they say, okay, this is Curtis, he's going to be new, and the first thing you hear is, oh, rah, yeah, wicked, got some more men in here. And you're just
yes, that did happen.
You know what I mean?
That did actually happen.
I know it's a side note, But it makes me feel that makes me think of that tune, like we need some more gal in here, and you've got and then I'm thinking it comes to mind, you need some more men in here, you need some more men in here, and it's just like they always come with that. They always say that it's like, well, because we've got this young men, and we've got young men that need role models and male role models and black male role models. And instantly we're set up like, okay, well, that's when the cape gets put on. Like, you know what I mean? You've got 200 young boys then. It's like, okay, that's you then. All of them. And you're thinking, wow.
So this moves on to my next question. What needs to change from your perspective? You are on the very front line, like a nurse, like a GP. What needs to change?
Communication. The communication's got to be better, and the communication, comprehension, and listening, and then applying what's been said to you. Because
who are you talking to? Are you talking to a young person?
We're talking to management. We're talking to management. We're talking all the way up the chain. It's got to be better, because you're telling us, because we're the front line. So if we're telling you we need more services to help these young people, or this social worker's got 23 cases, that caseload is too high.
Yes, it is.
Or what you just suddenly decide to talk about without consulting anybody is not going to work. Why? Because you didn't actually factor in the people who are in the front line. So you need to have more inclusion of who's actually fighting the war. You need to have more communication. You need to actually hear the hard truths about what's going on. You know what I mean? Because it's all good,
So the very top needs to come down and consult. And it's sad that we're saying come down, but really that's in effect what they're doing. Come down and have a conversation.
Not all of them, because I can see there's management out there that listen, but we need to have more of that communication. We need to make it where it's not just the social worker that gets all the flack because this hasn't been done and this hasn't been done. The social worker's trying to get to 5 different kids and do this and everything like that. And then we need to make it sure that where the social worker and the family practitioner is working alongside the youth worker, as well as having good conversations with the youth justice lot and youth justice workers, because we're all part of the same service. And I've seen where if you have them all lined up and working together, positive things happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because everybody's talking. So it's like, well, I spoke to Des the other day and he said, well, this is that. I spoke to you. And because when you go into meetings, it's always this same thing where they're like, but this and that. But what do we reckon he's doing? I said, well, I spoke to a young person. And he said, no, that's not what he's on. And they said, well, how do you know? Because I said, I spoke to him. Instead of imagining it and thinking, well, if you were the young person, no, this is what the young person said.
Yeah.
And it's also about establishing better communication with the police and getting them to see it as not just knife crime. It's a person behind it, because when they actually meet the young people, it's like, he's a nice young man.
Do you know what? It's funny you say that. I've noticed, like in other strats or any type of review strategy meetings, that is just for those who don't know, where all professionals come together, or a professionals meeting. You find that some voices have more weight than others. That police will have a heavy weight. This is what we've seen. This is the evidence. We're police, and actually we're missing the voice of the child. And the child might say, "Yeah, that happened, but not why you think."
No, exactly.
And every crime that's committed isn't because a child's naughty or dangerous or delinquent. So we have to get the voice of the child.
It's also about having, because I've been in some meetings where the police have been outwardly challenged about the way they're talking about the young people as well. It's like, no, we're not having it. Nope, we're not having that one. And they've been backed up, like their attitude has come on, and the attitude is sometimes to say what it's been stink, and you just have to back them down. Like, no, I'm not having that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And and like I said before, it's just making sure that all the services and all the different factors involved, that includes school as well, because if that young person's in school and stuff like that, that's an important part of them as well, because it's like, well, we don't see that behavior in school, or we do see this behavior in school. Excuse me. So it's about, well, how do you deal with it, and how can we have a kind of wraparound service that can help support this young person while they're in that environment, and then what happens when they come out of the environment, because it might actually give parents idea how to deal with them when they're at home. Like, you need to do this. This is what we do, So it's about communication and making sure everything wraps around, because sometimes it's too fractured where I ain't spoke. Have you spoken to a social worker? I haven't seen a social worker in 5 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I've picked up
In
cases that
instances,
are similar to that. Yeah.
yeah. In cases where they said, "Boy, I ain't seen a social worker in 5 weeks." You know who I did see? I saw the family practitioner.
Yeah. Yeah.
I saw the youth justice officer. I saw so and so from school who's the mentor. Not to say there hasn't been cases where you come on and they said, "Yeah, I had a family practitioner or a family support worker. They were rubbish. I hardly saw them." You know, because there's always a negative part as well as the positive part. So there's always somebody who isn't doing the role how they think they should be doing it. They're doing it their way. You know what I mean? Yeah. And sometimes you have to pick up on that. Sometimes it's like, yeah, that's not good. That's not good. You know, but it's about establishing the way that you work with the families and with the social worker. Me, I work alongside the social worker. So what you know, I know, and what I know, you know. So if something kicks off, it's like, "Yo, Curtis," boy. Yeah. And you'll be like, "What?" That's how we talk. All you listening, this is the conversation between Des and Curtis. "Yo, Curtis, Des, what's happening?" "Well, boy, you know what I'm calling for." "Yeah, I know. So what we gonna do?" All right. One minute. Let me just answer my phone. Yeah, I'll call you back. All right. Let me just check my calendar. When I can fit you in. All right, well, I'm ready. You know what I mean? Do we have to go down there? Yeah.
Yeah, we gotta go. We gotta go. That is how we talk. That is how Des and I have to talk, and we make sure we understand what time it is for that child. We know the details in the context that we know it.
Yeah.
Before we move ahead.
Yep. So then when we go there, we sit down, we say, "Yes, my you." And they go, yeah. All right, what happened in your words?
Yeah.
Well, boom, right? This is what happened, because so, and that's when you find out a whole heap of things, and then you think, okay, so everything that we was thinking it was, and it's not actually that. Right. Or sometimes it is actually that.
Yeah. But we want to be clear about that.
One thing I always stress to my young people: I come to get your story. I come to get your side.
Absolutely. I love that.
You know what I mean? I always come to get I want your side. I want your side. I remember I had one young person I was working with, and he got arrested again, and I rang him up, and I was like, "Yo, what you saying?" "Oh yeah, man, did we say you cool?" I said, "Yo, what's rule 426 of roadman values?" And he went, I said, "Don't get caught." And he started cracking. I said, "What are you doing?" He said, and he just explained to me what happened. And he goes, "It wasn't all that. I just came out and I did this, and then I saw them. I went, I'm not supposed to be in the area." And I also spoke in the split. And then I tried to duck in, and they came and and you get the true story. So then when you go to the strategy meeting, they said, "Yeah, well, this." I said, "No, that's." I said, given the fact that most of my young people will be honest with you, will be honest with me at a certain point. And I've always said to them, "Listen, you're editing," because I usually call it out, "You're editing." And they go, "What?" I don't say you're lying. I said, "You're editing." And they goes, "What do you mean?" I say, "You done left out something." And they goes, "How do you know?" I said, "Because I can tell the way you're telling me the story. That don't make no sense." So sometimes you have to be a little bit, what's the word? Psychic.
Psychological and assertive.
Yeah.
Definitely. What two more, it's actually one question divided into two. Your number one piece of advice to social workers, and your number one piece of advice to a young person. Go for a social worker. What would you tell me?
Social worker. See, I can't say one piece of advice.
Throw me two.
Don't judge.
Wow.
Don't judge, because nobody is perfect. We all find ourselves in situations because we make wrong decisions. And who are we? And what it does, if you come to judging, it makes you feel like it creates a kind of superior complex, which that person will feel immediately.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, "I'm working with this person. This person thinks they're better than me." You've heard, you don't think you're better than me because you got education. And blah, blah. No, don't judge. And be down. And the other one is be down to earth and relatable. That's two things, but down to earth and relatable. And try your best to help them as best you can. because that's what they want. They want you. In some places, they want you to come in and save them, but they want you to listen to them.
Yeah.
They want you to listen to them. So you have to be down to earth and relatable, so that they can tell you what is actually going on. You know, some people might say, "Well, you got that all messed up." I'm like, this is just how I look at it, because it's not just one thing. It's how you come as the package and how you come across. You know, and the social workers just know when, and also on a private, personal tip, know when too much is too much, when you're getting pushed too much. When,
for yourself
as a
in your
social
own job.
worker, when you feel, damn, I've come in and them man have hit me with 24 cases straight. Listen, you got to say something, because you have a life too. Because you being stressed out is not going to help you help others. So it's because in social work, as we keep saying, the work is always going to be there tomorrow, whether you're in or not.
Yeah.
You know, they always say about keep your work-life balance. Keep your work-life. Come 5 o'clock. Sometimes you won't be able to do that, where sometimes you can't switch off that phone at 5 o'clock. I understand that.
Sometimes you have to switch off at 3 o'clock just to survive.
Sometimes you have to switch off at 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to think because you have to protect yourself.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you're going to come up in cases which are so emotional.
Yeah.
That you need that time to just go and get it all out of your system and just de-stress. Otherwise, you will get grey hair, and you will have no hair, like me, and we don't want that. You know what I mean? And it can impact on your health. You know, most people say, "Well, you're just saying it's just a job." No, it's not a job. It's a vocation. It's what you do. But at the same time, you still have to protect yourself. You know, that's one thing. For the young people, get to know the social worker. You need to see them as people. They're not just coming here to throw their weight around. You need to see them as people too. They have their own issues. You know, because most young people they instantly say, "Oh, you're a social worker," and start effing and blinding. People, they feel it too. When you come in, you start giving it big cussing and everything and trying to act. That impacts on the person, the social worker as well. So, excuse me. They need to understand. I mean, I can't really tell young people that because they're young people. So it's just about they need to listen to what people are saying and take that help. I don't know what's happened to my camera. You still there, Curtis? Ooh, I'm all by myself.
Listen,
he's back.
That's virgin. that is virgin right there.
That's what we were saying the other day, isn't it?
That is virgin right there. Since the beginning of the year, it's been crazy, bro.
Yeah,
it's been crazy. Yeah, the last question is your main. In fact, we've divided it into two. Your main advice to families, more to parents, actually. If there was one thing yet to give them, it would be this.
It's a hard one because there's so many things. Excuse me. We could tell the parents. I hope you can edit the coughing out. Sorry, people. This is what happens when you get unnecessary cough. The parents try. I don't want to say try and be positive, but I say listen. Listen. Treat the social. It's the same as I tell the young people. The people that are coming in to support you are human too. And what they're trying to do is trying to support you to get to a better place. So it's about the parent listening and being able to look at what's going on for them. You know what I mean? It's like, you kind of like you have to kind of step out to look at the whole situation and see how are you affecting the situation and know where their place is in how everything is going on. You know what I mean? Because, when you call social workers in, it's very invasive coming into someone's house and asking them a whole heap of questions. So it's about the parent understanding the reason for what we're doing in there, why we're there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not to criticize, it's not to say you're a bad parent unless you're someone like parents a baby P or whoever. Yeah, then that's just wrong. That's just bad parenting straight away. It's not about that. It's not about judging. We're not coming to judge you. We come to support you and help you and see how we can make a better situation for you. So it's just about parents understanding there's a reason why we're here. And if there isn't no reason, fine, cool. everything is in place. Because someone may have called it in and they thought, I saw this and that. But it's about us trying to come in and support. It's about support. We're not coming in there to do everything for you. It's about getting you on your feet so you can walk your own path with your children.
And finally, what would you want to say to the young person if there was one thing you had to say?
Answer your phone. Ciao.
Yeah, when they see that name pop up though.
Answer your phone, rude boy. Rude.
Why?
Answer your phone.
Why are they answering their phone to you?
Who knows? It's funny because you ring them, they never answer their phone. They will say, I ain't got no credit. But I see you chatting to your brethren for like 2 hours on FaceTime and everything. Or I think you calling this person. But I bet if your weed dealer calls you, you lot are picking that up straight away. If your friend tells you, come, I've got something to speak. Yeah, they're picking up the phone straight away. We're trying to stop you. We're trying to help you and have a conversation with you. Answer your phone. Anybody that's done social work knows that you can't get hold of. I can't get hold of so and so. Why it's not answering the phone?
Yeah.
Yet when you see them, the phone is in their hand.
Yeah, always. I appreciate your time.
Okay.
I'm gonna see you next week though, hopefully.
Yeah.
In the flesh. Guys, that is the work that is done. They are the family practitioners are, when I say front line, I mean in the line of fire. But they do a lot more close hand work than social workers, and Des is one of those guys. You heard the job, and hopefully we're selling this work because we need more family practitioners, to be honest.
We need more. I don't get me wrong. It's an enjoyable job. When you've done some good work, you feel good about it.
Yeah, definitely.
And it means that you use all your experiences, because most people say I want to actually engage with people. Yeah. And I've had some jokes, and you make relationships. And the thing is, you make relationships, and I don't make relationships that we just, all right, we've done the work and we're done. I still have young people and parents call me now just to check in.
Yeah.
You become part of the family. As family practitioners, you actually become part of the family.
When it's going well, that's what's happening.
So when you're doing it, when it's there, great. Sometimes it can be a slog, but other times, great. It was the best thing that I did.
Wow.
It was the best thing I did, considering where I came from, residential and stuff. For me, it was a natural progression for me. So you get to engage with young people, and they give you enough jokes. Believe in me.
Yeah. Appreciate your time.
No worries.
Guys, hopefully you'll join us again. Des, we'll have to call you back in for another show.
Hopefully, if they understood anything I said, and they're like, yeah, no, he's rubbish, man.
We'll find out. We'll find out. Appreciate your time. Guys, take care of yourselves. Live good. Take care.
Peace.